I learned how to read and write when I went to kindergarten, and they taught me basic spelling of things. I always had trouble with the word Ben, because I thought my friend's name was Ben, so I didn't know it was B-E-E-N. And, yeah, I learned how to spell, read, and write there, and I've always been accelerated at reading, so that came naturally. We had, like, if you were accelerated, you could read, like, level 5 and 6, and I was always up at the highest levels. For, it was called, like, I had a name for it, I can't remember what it was. Enriched reading or something. I read Goosebumps. Good stuff. Yeah. And I read, like, 6th grade, I was reading, like, adult-level books, 5th grade. So, I always, just from there on, I've read pretty much just all adult, young adult books. And writing, I like to write stories, but I really just did it for school. So, that and poems, because I like poetry. Favorite one is back in kindergarten, we used to have to write short stories, and I wrote one about Frankenstein. We'd illustrate it and write it ourselves. And we had to write a book once. And what made me really mad is I was trying to use K. Like I said, okay, like saying, okay, Mom, but they edited it, so my thing had to say okay. I was so upset. But, reading. Yeah. Stuff that my mom usually handed over, and trying to read Harry Potter in 1st grade. Didn't work. Writing, papers. Because I have to write papers, like, every other day. And it's about, like, contemporary modern issues and older stuff. So, papers, journalism stuff, writing articles. Because I'm a spiffy journalist. And, reading, usually reading articles that people post online, like IGN, gaming stuff, reviews for gaming, reading Facebook statuses and Twitter statuses, actually. So that is definitely something, and I do write Twitter, I update twice a day, and Facebook. So yes, I am a Twitter user. They say journalists need to do it, and I do have some opinions on it, so don't worry, it's coming out.
Read.
My favorite thing to write about is Abby Gustafson. She's fantastic. No, my favorite thing to write about, if I had the choice, is game reviews and about games, because that's what I want to go into. Bada boom. And then reading is game reviews, and I like books. I have a lot of books. I like reading science fiction, fantasy, historical fiction, like, you name it. My favorite's probably science fiction, magic. The Dresden Files is my favorite, and Star Wars related books. Like, if we're getting very specific, then anything fantasy. So, I love them. It affects it in the modern culture, in the fact that it's actually making people's reading worse, writing. Because they're starting to simplify words that are already simplified. Like, you take phrases that are already short, and they short it even more, and I'm like, what? And it's just like, TTYL, lols, and I'm like, it's just talk to you later. So, it definitely simplifies and almost dumbs down everything. It's cool because it gets you a quick snippet out. Like, if you're posting an article, or posting something cool you've seen, I understand. But if you're just going on there to say just stupid little things, it's kind of, redundant almost. I mean, if I'm talking about Twitter, I'm going to incorporate something, but I don't think, at least me, it wouldn't affect anything, but I can see people who use Twitter a lot. I can see it affecting the way they speak, because it already kind of does in real life, depending on the person. As a whole, I'd say negative and positive. It's weird, because it's positive for the fact you're able to get whatever you want out in like an instant. Facebook does it, but Twitter's almost faster paced, and more people can see it, so it's cool. If you want to get your story out, something you got to say fast. It may be short, but that makes people better at writing short, witty little things if they're actually good at writing. Because you can get a little snippet out there, and it's just beautiful. That line that says everything. But then there's the people who write the awful, short, little condensed things that just don't make sense. So it's a double-edged sword. I heard a teacher joke about writing an entire essay in one tweet. So they didn't actually do it, but they joked like that may be what we're heading towards, or we can do that. So there has been speculations of that happening, and that'd be very interesting. But that means our culture would be less expandatory and more focalized on one point, which would be cool, but I don't like that. And I doubt it'll ever go to that, obviously. That's a far extreme assumption. I still have found people are more lenient on grammar, depending, but if you're a journalist, that never applies. You're always very strict with grammar. Same with like any major writing, grammar will never change. But when it comes to just talking to people, grammar is, nobody cares.